All right, good morning. So today we are actually going to be doing a part of lesson 57. We're only doing part of it just to begin it. And then tomorrow in class, or if you're learning virtually through the computer with a live instruction, we're going to continue this lesson. But I just want to get started on part of it today because it is a big lesson that I want to be able to spend a lot of time on in class. So first is a do now. I'd like you to graph these linear inequalities and remember to shade. So I actually want to remind you that when we're graphing, you're graphing it as if it is just a line. So first we're going to identify our slope and our y-intercept. My y-intercept here is 6 and my slope is 3. Or you could write it as 3/1. And then you're going to graph it as if it's a line and then follow the inequality symbol and test your point for where you are going to shade. So remember, we're always testing the point. So one thing I don't want you to forget. So take a couple seconds or a couple minutes and do question 1. We'll come back, you'll check your answer, then I'll give you time for question 2. So if we take a look here, I plotted my y-intercept at 6, and then I followed my slope. I went up 3 to the right 1. Then to go in the opposite direction, I went down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1, and plotted all of my points to the end of the graph. Then, because it was a less than or equal to, I knew I could do a solid line. So in order to figure out where to shade, I tested the point 0, 0, and I substituted in my value. So I had 0 is less than or equal to 3x plus 3 times 0 plus 6, and 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 6, and then 0 is less than or equal to 6. Now that's a true statement, so I'm going to shade towards that point to cover the point 0, 0. Then finally, we always label the line. So now I'd like you to try number 2 and come back to check your work for that graphing that inequality. So graphing this point here, graphing this inequality here, first I plotted my y-intercept at 4, then I followed my slope. I went down 8 to the right 1. And those are actually the only 2 points that fit on the graph. So I drew my dotted line through that graph, and the reason it was dotted was because it was just greater than. And then I tested the point 0, 0. When I tested that, I ended up with 0 is greater than 4. That's a false statement, so I shade away from that point so that it's not covering 0, 0, and I label my inequality. So today we're going to be talking about how to graph a system of inequalities. So that means there's going to be more than one inequality graphed on our coordinate plane. So the way to do this, we're going to graph each inequality on the same grid, just as if they were alone. So you're just going to graph each of them, and remember, if it has a greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, we're using a solid line. If it has a less than or a greater than, we're using a dashed line. And then we're going to test our points and shade. Then where the 2 shaded areas overlap, that's going to be our solution set. So we're going to label that with an S. So let's look at the first example. So first, we're going to take our first inequality and just graph it as if it were any inequality. So our y-intercept is -6, and my slope is 3, or 3/1. So I'm going to plot -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My y-intercept at -6. And then I'm going to do my slope. So I'm going to go up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. And plot all of the possible points on the graph. In the opposite direction, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to go down 3, left 1. Then it's an or equal to, so I'm going to draw a solid line through. And we're going to make sure we have our arrows at the end. Then we're going to test the point 0, 0. So I have y is less than or equal to 3x minus 6. So instead of y now, 0 is less than or equal to 3 times 0 minus 6. So I get 0 is less than or equal to 0 minus 6. 0 is less than or equal to negative 6. Is this a true statement? No, this is false. So 0 is not less than or equal to negative 6, so I'm going to shade away from that point of 0, 0. We're going to make sure we always label our inequality. Y is less than or equal to 3x minus 6. Then if you have another color, it would definitely help so that you could tell the difference between the two inequalities. So I'm going to graph the next one in blue. So my y-intercept is 3, and my slope is negative 3 over 4. So I'm going to plot my y-intercept of 3. Then I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 4. Down 3 to the right 4. And in the other direction, I would go up 3 and to the left 4. Up 3 and to the left 4. Then this is a greater than symbol. So that means I'm going to have a dotted line. So I'm going to draw my dotted line. And make sure that I have my arrows at the end. And then we are going to test the point 0, 0 to see where I should shade. So I have y is greater than negative 3/4 x plus 3. So then that becomes 0 is greater than negative 3/4 times 0 plus 3. 0 is greater than 0 plus 3. So then I have 0 is greater than 3. Is 0 greater than 3? No. So this is also false. So since that's false, I'm going to shade away from the point 0, 0. And we are going to label our line. Y is greater than negative 3/4 x plus 3. Now, you can see where the two inequalities intersect. That's going to be your solution set. So I'm going to label that with a big S for my solution set. So now identify one solution set. So any number that's within the shading of the two could be considered one of their solutions. So let's say this point here could be a solution. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the point 5, 4 would be a solution. Let's say this point here at the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 would be a solution. 9, negative 1 could also be a solution. Could 3, 3 be a solution? Well, 3, 3 is on the solid line, so yeah, it could be a solution. Could 4, 0 though? Well, 4, 0 is on the dotted line, so it would not be a solution. All right, so let's do practice example number 1 together. So my y-intercept is 4, and my slope is negative 3 over 1. So we're going to plot at 4 for my y-intercept, then I'm going to go down 3 and to the right 1. down 3 to the right 1 until you can't go any further. Then we're going to do the opposite. We'll go up 3 into the left 1. And then it's a less than or equal to, so I'm going to draw a solid line through. Then we're going to test the point 0, 0. So y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 4. This becomes 0 is less than or equal to negative 3 times 0 plus 4. 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 4. And we end up with 0 is less than or equal to 4. Is 0 less than or equal to 4? Yes, so this is a true statement. So we are going to shade toward 0, 0 in this case. Then we are going to make sure that we label our inequality as y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 4. Then we need to graph our next inequality. Our y-intercept is negative 1, and our slope is 2, or 2 over 1. So I'm going to plot that point at negative 1. And I'm going to go up 2 to the right 1. Up 2 to the right 1. And continue that pattern. And then go backwards. Instead of up 2, I'm going to go down 2 and to the left 1. Then I notice it's a greater than symbol. So that means I'm going to have a dotted line here. So I'm going to draw my dotted line. And make sure that you have your arrows at the end of the line. And then we're going to test the point 0, 0. So I have y is greater than 2x minus 1. So it would be 0 is greater than 2 times 0 minus 1. 0 is greater than 0 minus 1. So that gives us 0 is greater than negative 1. Is 0 greater than negative 1? Yes, this is a true statement. So once again, I'm going to shade towards 0, 0. So we want to make sure that 0, 0 is then covered. So then I notice I didn't shade the full part there. And then we need to always write our equation. So we have y is greater than 2x minus 1. And then I'm going to label the solution set, which is the part where they all cross, with a big S. Then we need to identify at least one solution. So I'm going to say negative 1, 1 is a solution there. And there are plenty of other solutions that could be possible. All right, so tomorrow we're going to do practice example number 2, and we'll begin that one as a do now for tomorrow. So that'll be the do now for tomorrow. All right, so no practice worksheet or anything today. Just make sure that you have those notes ready and are ready to complete that do now starting when class begins tomorrow. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow.